welcome back. Thanks for coming back and watching another video. For those of you that have never been here before, welcome. My name is Krista. Today I am going to talk about reasons why people stay in debt, why we stayed in debt for as long as we did, why other people I know, friends and family, things that they struggle with and why they stay in debt. I'm just going to go through a list of things. I'm sure there'll be some things on here that resonate with you and make you think, you know what, that's probably why we're not getting out of debt either. So, like I said, I'm just going to go through the list. For any of you that have never been here before or watched any of my videos, my husband Aaron and I are on a debt-free journey. We started in August of last year, and we are actually due to be debt-free by December of this year. So we started August of 2019, and we will be debt-free by December 2020. Paying off about $85,000 worth of debt, which is just incredible. It has been so rewarding, and the things we've learned about ourselves along the way, and the things that we have altered in our lifestyle that actually just only makes sense to us now. And it's, you know, one of those things that I can't believe we weren't doing some of this stuff this whole time. But again, this list is going to tell you some of the things that I have found why people stay in debt, why we did stay in debt. And these are some of the things that we changed and some of the sacrifices that we made that have actually are going to pay off tenfold here in a couple months. So the first one that I had is we as humans, all of us, do not like to give up anything. We do not want to make the sacrifice that we need to make to get out of debt. All of us, I'm sure all of you have probably at one time said, next month, you know, we are going to get on a budget, we are going to do these things, we are going to pay off this credit card, we are going to pay off this car loan, we're going to do this. That month comes and there ends up being this concert that you want to go to, and your friends want to go out to eat, and there's maybe a birthday party that you want to go to. You know, there's always something, and you never want to say no. You want to do those things, which is human. We want to do those things. But getting out of debt does come with sacrifices. You have to start saying no to some of these things. You have to start picking and choosing some of the things you want to do. Now, I'm not saying you can never go out to eat and you can never go to a concert and you can never go out with your friends, but maybe not every weekend. Maybe not eating out 3-4 times a week. Maybe you start making meals at home and you do date nights at home. If you do have, you know, maybe something big coming, maybe a bachelorette party or a concert or something that you're going to go to, you know about that usually ahead of time. So then maybe for the month you decide, you know what, instead of going on date night this month, let's save our money on that. We'll do something at home, and then this way we can go out with friends when the time comes. Make sacrifices. It's hard, and you know, you don't want to do it all the time, but it does pay off in the long run. We also, as humans, want to play keeping up with the Joneses. Do you know that the Joneses are broke? I know, surprise. So these people that are buying these great big giant $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 houses and have these brand new cars and a pontoon, and they're going out all the time and they have parties and they're doing all this stuff, they are living more than likely paycheck to paycheck. They are moving money from one credit card to another credit card every month just so that they can make the payments. They are playing these games, and you want to be like them. And that's because keeping up with the Joneses always looks really cool. You never see what's going on behind closed doors. But I will have to say probably 90 to 95% of the time, they are broke. They have no money. They probably are worse off than what you are. They just look like they aren't. So keeping up with the Joneses is not a thing that anybody needs to be doing. Worry about keeping up with yourself. We as humans also are very materialistic. We love things. The more things we have, the better. Even if we don't use them. Maybe you wanted this boat or this motorcycle or this side-by-side, or you wanted these household decor, or you wanted these new shoes that you can wear with one outfit and one outfit only, or you want, the list goes on and on and on. We are very materialistic. We don't need all of these things. We don't need to have everything brand new that comes out on the market. So taking a look at some of the items that you are bringing into your house or things that you think you need, take a look at them. See if they're things that you do actually need and things that you do actually use. And if you're not using them, get rid of them, sell them. You don't need them anymore. It's taking up space in your home. It's taking up space in your head. You're having to clean it maybe or maintenance it. Get rid of it. Also, I know that at one point in time, even Aaron and I just kind of gave up on it. We gave up on trying to become debt-free. We gave up on trying to, pay off all of our credit cards. Even if we were still in debt, we just wanted to pay off all of our credit cards and not have any credit card debt anymore. And eventually, I know we just gave up on it. We felt like there was no use, because as soon as we get it paid down, we would need to charge something to it, or something would come up. Or we would, maybe go on vacation and we're like, okay, let's just put it all on the credit card. We'll pay it off when we get home. That's all fine and dandy when you're on vacation, but when you get home, you're like, well, I can just make the minimum payments. It's fine, and we'll pay it off in the next year. So I know we just kind of gave up, and I'm sure other people also feel that exact same way. They just feel like they're just going to give up. It's not worth it. They're never going to become debt-free. It's not going to happen. But I assure you that if you make the sacrifices and make the changes to your life, you can do it. You just have to be focused. You have to know why you want to do this. The next one I have is people put getting out of debt on the back burner. So, like I was saying earlier, people will, want to, they'll sit down, like next month we're going to start a budget, and we are going to work on getting out of debt, and we are going to pay off these credit cards, and we are going to pay off this car loan, and we're going to pay off the student loans, and we're going to do this next month. Well, next month comes, and then something comes up and they don't get around to it, and they're like, okay, next month. We'll do it next month. We'll start fresh next month, and we're going to do it. Again, next month comes, and it just doesn't happen. So a lot of people put getting out of debt on the back burner because, honestly, it's so easy to stay in debt. It's super easy. All they want you to do is just make your payments. That's it. Super easy. They can even finance you to where your payments are lower every month. You might pay on it for an extra 12 years, but it's only going to cost you $12.95 a month. That's it. So staying in debt is super easy. The next one I have is some people, and I know we were these people, we did not know how to handle money properly. We obviously made good money. We saw our money coming in. We watched it go right out the door. And then we watched it do it all over again next month. Like, we had an idea of what our money was doing. We knew it was there to pay bills, but we didn't actually know how to handle our money. We did not know how to tell our money where to go and how we wanted it to be spent. And this is something that we have learned so much about in the last year. Even when we did start our debt-free journey, we created our budget. We started, telling our money where to go. But by doing that, we actually gave ourselves pay raises because we started telling our money exactly where it needed to go and when it needed to go those places. by the end of the month, we had all this extra money that was just sitting there because we had not told it where to go yet. Because we were keeping such a close eye on what we were spending money on. We weren't just throwing money out the window. We weren't just stopping at gas stations. We weren't just stopping at fast food. We weren't just throwing out $5 here and $10 here and maybe $3 here. We weren't doing that anymore. So we learned how to use our money. We are still learning how to use our money. By no means are we perfect at this. We are still learning, and it's still going to be a process for quite some time, and I don't know if we'll ever fully know what we're doing. Right now, we are about out of debt, and we're starting to look at different investment options. That is a whole nother world, like a whole nother world out there. So that's something that is next for us to learn how to do, and it's just different ways that we learn to spend our money. Okay, so the next one I have is people believe other broke people. My uncle told me that don't worry, everybody's in debt. You're always going to be in debt. You're never going to get out of debt. It's just part of, being a grown-up. It's always going to be that way. Well, yeah, you're broke. So of course you would say that. That's how you're living. Or maybe your cousin told you, just take out these student loans. Everybody takes out student loans. That's why they're there. That's why you do it. Or take out this car loan. There's really good interest rates right now, and right now is the best time to take out these car loans. Or maybe, you should go buy this house. There's this great big giant house that's for sale, and it'd be perfect for you. And I'm sure you could probably make the minimum payments. And it goes on and on and on. These people are all broke. I'm done taking advice from broke people. I'm finished. I'm not doing that anymore. Taking advice from broke people, whether it be my banker, or whether it be a realtor, or whether it be a friend or a family member, or no matter who it is, they're giving me advice to keep me in debt. And I'm done taking advice from broke people. And that's something too that we really had to struggle with as well. That is one of the things that Erin and I had to start listening to ourselves, and we knew what our goals were, and we knew what we wanted out of life, and we had to start making our own decisions and not listening to other people. Another reason is spouses are not on the same page. So this was kind of an issue when we started as well. I started listening to the Dave Ramsey podcast, and Erin had not ever heard them before. I don't even know if he's heard them yet. But he had never heard of it. So I was gun ho. I'm like, we are doing this. We are getting out of debt. I already created a spreadsheet. You get this much money a month for this, and this much money a month for this, and this much money a month for this, and that's it. And we got to figure out how to make it last. I was all on board. He looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, you want me to do what? You want me to stop from when we used to buy anything we ever wanted when we wanted, and you want me just to stop that now? I can't go do these things. And he thought I was insane. And that was a struggle at first. So spouses that are not on the same page, it does definitely cause issues, because one person wants to be gung-ho and wants to get out of debt, and the other one doesn't understand why they can't go pick up a pizza and why we have to make dinner at home. And money fights are huge. Money fights, I think, are the number one cause of divorce in America. So money fights with your spouse are huge. So one thing to do is to get on the same page with your spouse. I did not do it correctly. I probably should have talked to Erin a little bit more when I wanted to get started, instead of just jumping right into it. Luckily, it has worked out well for us. I don't know if that would be the same for everyone. So I would recommend talking with your spouse, getting on the same page. I know, like I said, I listened to the Dave Ramsey podcast. Those have always been, that's how I got started on it. but there's different books, there's different classes, there's all kinds of things that you can do as a couple to get on the same page with it. The next thing is people don't always think they make enough money to get out of debt. I have already heard, well, yeah, you make this much money, so that's why you're able to get out of debt. I only make this much money. Well, no, that doesn't have anything to do with it. I mean, I might make more money than somebody next to me, but this other person over here makes more money than I do. So getting out of debt is not about the amount of money that you make. I mean, yes, it does make it easier. The more money you make, the easier it does get. And if you have double incomes, obviously it's easier than if you have single incomes. And there's a lot of different variables, but you have to learn to live and spend within your means. So if you are making $50,000 a year, you can spend what a $50,000 person a year makes. If you make $20,000 a year, you can spend what a $20,000 person makes. If you make $1 million a year, you can spend what a $1 million person a year makes. But even still, even if you make $1 million a year, there's still things that a millionaire cannot buy. There's still things that a millionaire cannot afford. That millionaire has to live within their means, otherwise they too will be in debt. So you just have to make sure that you budget and you spend within your means. So the next one, people do not create budgets. They just don't. We didn't create a budget for years. Aaron and I have been married now for 13 years, and just probably within this last year and a couple months, I think is the first time that we created a budget and stuck to it. Now, in the past, we've created budgets like here and there, but we never stuck to them. This is the first time in 13 years that we have actually stuck to it. So you need to create a budget and stick to it. That is what's going to help you get out of debt and tell your money where it goes and what it needs to do. And this is another reason why people are they're not getting out of debt, because their money is it's controlling them. They're not controlling their money. Another reason, people are still using credit cards. So credit cards is just a way for you to continue to stay into debt. I don't care if you pay them off every month. I don't care. I don't care if you're doing it for the air miles or flight miles. Is it air miles or flight miles? Whatever it is. I don't care if you're doing it for that. Get rid of your credit cards. Your credit cards are just another reason for you to stay in debt. They have interest rates on them for a reason. Credit card companies are some of the largest companies in the world. And do you think they're the largest companies in the world because people purchase their items and pay off their debt every single month and it just rolls over and there's no interest or no anything? No. Credit card companies do so much research and they know the human behavior better than you know your human behavior. They are not stupid. They know what they are doing. And even though you say that you are going to pay it off every month, what happens if you can't? What happens if your car transmission goes out that next month? Or your water heater goes out? Or something? What happens if that happens? Then you can't pay it off, and now you're playing the credit card game. Now you have charged things to it, and now you're going to pay interest on it, and you're going to end up paying more for that item that you charged to your card than you would have if you just would have paid cash for it in the beginning. If you did not have the cash in the beginning to buy it, and that's why you charged it, then you should not have bought it. You did not need it. Wait until you had the money for it, and then buy it with cash. Another reason, this one has got like a couple of different pieces to it. It's we stay in debt because we don't have a plan, or we don't know how to get out of debt, or we're feeling overwhelmed. You know, they all kind of intermingle with each other. And it's a reason why we stay in debt, because we don't have the resources. We don't know. Everybody that we know is in debt. So that's all the advice we're ever getting. We've never heard of anyone that hasn't been in debt before. We've just always heard that's just the only way that you're ever gonna live is in debt. So that is a huge thing. So check out some different resources. check out some different things online, some different podcasts, some different YouTube videos. There's tons of YouTube videos like this that help people get out of debt or give suggestions or ideas, or people that are living debt free now. Check out the Dave Ramsey podcast, his YouTube videos, the books. I think like the one book is, what is it called? I don't know. I'll find it and I'll link it down below. But read his books. Oh, Total Money Makeover. It is a book about getting out of debt and telling you how to get out of debt and how to follow the steps. You know, look at different resources. You don't have to be overwhelmed. Even if you are, you know, elbows deep in debt or eyeballs deep in debt or whatever it might be, you don't have to be overwhelmed. There are ways to get out. So check out some different resources. I'm happy to answer any questions that I can if you leave me a comment down below. I'm happy to tell you, you know, things from like our perspective, what has worked for us. Now, what has worked for us may not work for other people. Everybody lives different lives. They live in different parts of the United States where cost of living is different. Some people have kids, some people don't. Like, I totally get that. But I'm happy to give you suggestions on what we did or what worked for us. Another reason is that people stay in debt is they don't know how to separate their wants from their needs. So when you look at an item or you say, I'm going to buy this item, do you want it or do you need it? During your debt-free journey, it is very important to control the want purchases and only focus on the need purchases. So what we do is if we want something, I'm not saying that you can't buy anything for yourself. So you can still buy items for yourself, but what we do is we keep a list and we will write down things that we want. And I recommend that you leave the items on the list for at least 2 weeks. Maybe longer. Maybe things are going to be on your list for a longer period of time, but for at least 2 weeks, leave them on there. And then in 2 weeks, when you go back to your list to review it, if you still really want it and it's still very important to you and it's still going to bring value to your life, then by all means, if you have the money, go for it. But if you don't have the money for it, then it's not something that you want that bad, because you would have found ways to save up the money for it. So it's very important to keep those separate and to start figuring out for yourself what are your wants versus your needs. Another reason is we as humans rationalize stupid. We can rationalize just about anything if we want something bad enough. We can rationalize a new vehicle. We can rationalize a new house. We can rationalize something as small as a new thing of makeup, or maybe a new cell phone, or, I mean, our rationalization skills are on point. That is one thing that we as humans can do well. So try not to rationalize stupid. I mean, if your car breaks down and it's going to cost more to fix it than what it's worth, then yes, by all means, maybe you need to look at getting a new car. But if the battery goes dead and you can fix it for like a couple $100, but you're like, oh, but I really want this new car, but I just feel like it's going to be so much more dependable in the winter, and it's got a heated steering wheel, and it's got all these things, so it just makes more sense. That's rationalizing stupid. Or buying a car for your someday family, like, you know, maybe you got into a car accident and your car was destroyed and now you have to get a new vehicle, and you're like, well, I mean, I'm getting this much money from the insurance company, but for this much money, I can buy a vehicle that will fit my children in it that I have someday. Stop rationalizing stupid. You don't need it. When you have kids, you can decide what kind of vehicle you want at that time. Another thing is the marketing on the media platforms is amazing. They are amazing. I hope they are getting paid good money for what they do, because when I'm scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, the amount of things that I think I need when I'm done, the other day I needed a electronic foot scrubber. I mean, this thing was amazing. This thing was going to take off all the dead skin, the calluses. It was going to make my feet feel like velvet, and it was going to look, my toes were going to look so nice. And I mean, according to the ad, I think it even painted my toenails for me. I needed this thing after scrolling through the other day. These people, they are good at what they do. So be mindful when you are on social media platforms or you are scrolling the internet for any sort of item. Other ads are gonna pop up and you have to avoid them. You have to just look past them and realize that this is not something you need. It is just another reason to buy something you don't need and stay in debt. Another reason is lack of follow through. So, like I said, we have, in our 13 years of marriage, created a handful of budgets. This last one is the first one we've ever stuck to for longer than probably a week. The other ones, I would spend all this time on it and they would look so pretty and they'd be so great and grand and we're gonna save all this money. A week would go by and we'd be off budget and I'm like, well, that didn't work. We'll try again next time. So lack of follow through is a reason why people are staying in debt. So create your budget and stick to it. I think I only have a couple more reasons here. So one of the last reasons is late payments. Credit card companies love when you make late payments because then they get extra money. It's great. It's like an easy way for them to make more money. Put your credit card payment, maybe your gas bill, your electricity bill, your house mortgage, anything that you can do, put it on electronic payments. And then that way you don't have to worry about spending that extra money on late payments. I know at one point in time, I had this credit card. I think it was like Old Navy. I'm pretty sure it was Old Navy. The bill, it was my fault. I forgot to send it in. I had written out the check. I put it in the envelope. I had the stamp on it, but I forgot to send it in. And by the time I remembered to send it in, it was like 3 days past due. So I'm like, oh shoot. And I stuck it in the mailbox and I'm like, okay, we should be okay. It's still getting in. $25. $25 for 3 days late. They charged me. All that does is it's money in their pocket. They love late payments. They'll just keep tacking it onto your bill. Don't even worry about it. They'll just add it on. But be careful, if you're only making the minimum payments and you're constantly making them late all the time, this happened to me, is I was at my max on my credit card and then I was making my payments late. So the payments that I was making wasn't taking enough off the bill for my late payments that were getting added on. So eventually I ended up over my credit limit. So I not only was getting late payment fees, but I was also getting over credit line fees. I think I was paying $50 a month in fees. And I was only making like a $15 minimum payment. I was never gonna catch up. It was never gonna happen. So keep an eye on those things and try to put your things on electronic withdraw so that you don't have to worry about making those late payments. It's not worth it. It's just throwing money out the window by doing so. The last thing I have is getting out of debt just does not occur to some people. So they never even knew it was an option. No one ever told them that it was something that was even possible. Like I said, we had gotten onto budgets before, but that was more or less because I wanted to get my credit cards paid off. But I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would be able to actually get out of debt and be debt free. Never once in my wildest dreams. Yes, I maybe wanted to and, thought like, hey, what would that be like if I could? But I never, ever, ever thought I would actually be able to do it. So I just personally want to tell you that it is possible. You can do it. It is something that you are able to do. You just have to change some of the things that you're doing. You have to change your ways. You have to change your outlook. You have to make sacrifices. You have to make changes in your life to expect changes in your life. You cannot get something you cannot change the way your life is going if you don't change anything that you're doing. So those are just a couple of things that I have as to why I believe we stayed in debt for as long as we did and why other people are staying in debt and not getting out. So, I'm sure there's other reasons. I'm sure you guys all have your own reasons. Maybe it just hasn't dawned on you before. I hope maybe this video helps you think about reasons why you're staying into debt. Are you one of those people that have the money in savings to pay off all your debt, but you just don't want to because you like the way it looks in savings? It looks all pretty and nice and cozy right where it's at. You're right. Keep paying late payments and interest payments and all of that. You're right. That makes more sense. So, but anyways, like I said before, if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated. I try to put out a video at least once a week. Sometimes I can get them out twice a week. They're all different things about how we are how we are getting out of debt, and then how we plan on staying out of debt. Things that we've cut from our lifestyle, different ways that we stay on budget, all kinds of different items. So subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any of those. It would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, in the meantime, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you later. Bye.